Good evening and welcome to Cooking with Curtis. Tonight we are going to make some of the most scrumptious cookies you will ever taste from a place in New York called Levain Bakery. Now, as you know, all of the students at any of the institutions where I work become my kids. And I had a kid named Gabby who told me about this bakery that she and some of the girls in the water polo team went to in the 70s, like on the 78th and Broadway or somewhere up in the Upper West Side. And I didn't necessarily like going to that area because it was bougie. And because when you went to that bakery, you had to wait online for about an hour to be able to get these cookies. Now, the cookies are good enough to wait for an hour, but I wasn't about waiting at that moment in my life. So I decided to Google Levain, and I found they had an alternate location in Harlem. Well, some people didn't want to go to Harlem because they didn't necessarily enjoy the clientele, but I liked the clientele of Harlem. So I decided, let me get on the train one day, and I got on the train. I got off at 116th in Frederick Douglass, and lo and behold, was this wonderful little bakery, no line, no wait, and the cookies were twice as delicious as they were on the 77th or 78th Street location with all the lines. So Gabby has been watching Cooking with Curtis all the way from New Zealand, and she sent me photos of her Levain Bakery cookies, and tonight I'm going to make mine. Tonight is also exceptionally special because today is Quanika's birthday. Now, Quanika is my pet, my dog, my daughter, if you will. She's a Shih Tzu, and she's about a year old today. And she came to me from Jacksonville, Florida. My sister was a breeder, and I'll tell you her story. But before I do that, I want to talk about the importance of pets to my life, because sometimes people get a little sideways. To me, pets had always been utilitarian. So when I moved to New York, I moved into an apartment. 2 days after I got there, I saw a rat that looked like it was about 12 pounds. And I said, no, Jesus, we can't do this. So I went to my downstairs neighbors and said, hey, have you seen those rats? And my neighbor said, yes, look at this. And she brought me into her house one day and showed me a rat that was on a glue trap, and the rat was dragging the trap. The child at our house at that time thought it was funny, but we took a broom, we killed that rat. 2 days later, I got me a cat. Her name was BB. Now, I'd already decided I was going to get a cat, and one of my friends in Arkansas said, you should name the cat Laura Beth after one of our RAs that were friends of mine. And I said, well, I already talked to someone else, and they said I should name it Bettina. So I said, we're going to call the cat Bettina Beth, but BB for short. When I go to the ASPCA, I tell them to give me the biggest cat they have, and lo and behold, they show up with one cat. His name was like Frankie. Frankie weighed like 40 pounds. He didn't get up. He just slept. He ate all day, they claimed, and they would bring the food about 4 feet in front of him and feed him. I didn't want that. He didn't look active enough. So I said, can you give me one that's a bit more engaged? And then they brought out a cat, and lo and behold, her name was BB. I knew then that was a sign from God that BB was my cat, and I brought BB home. BB lived for quite a long time, and we introduced Tiki into our family. Tiki was a smaller version of BB, but she was able to also make sure the rat stayed away. Now, BB began to get old. She had probably a stroke or something. We didn't believe in doctors at that time, so we didn't really know her diagnosis, but she had like her eye was squinting, she walked slow. So we decided that we were just gonna let BB ride it out. But I had to go to Haiti, and I was afraid that when I came back from Haiti, I'd find this cat bloated on the floor, and that I didn't want. So I contemplated ways in which we could give BB a graceful homegoing, and even, rather, an assisted homegoing, right? So I thought about going to a vet, but again, remember, we didn't do vets at our house. So I contemplated, we live on the third floor, putting BB in a pillowcase, closing it up so BB wouldn't know what was going on, and dropping her out the window. I didn't do it. Please understand that I did not drop BB out the window. I was concerned that what happens if she didn't actually expire, and then we'd have this cat with broken legs and have to try to explain that to people. So we didn't. BB survived the whole week that I was gone to Haiti. When I returned, she was jumping up on things, and she lived for another couple of weeks. And so Tiki also passed on, and then I moved to New Orleans, and now we have Quanika. So we're going to talk a bit about Quanika while I'm making my cookies. So the things you need to know for our cookie mix, we have some very basic ingredients. We have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. So I'm going to put my cup of flour in my bowl now. Okay, we have 1 cup, 1 1/4 cup of cake flour. Now, I had never heard of cake flour until this, but they make it, so it looks just like all-purpose to me. But we're gonna put that in our bowl right here. So in addition to those things, I'm not gonna put everything in right now because I'm gonna tell you about it and then I'm gonna start mixing. We have got 2 tablespoons of baking soda, 1/4 tablespoon of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Additionally, we have 2 cups of granulated sugar, 2 cups of packed brown sugar. We've got a cup of Ghirardelli chocolate chips, Ghirardelli, excuse me. 1 cup of Reese's peanut butter chips, a cup of walnuts, which we're gonna put back over here, 2 sticks of butter, and 2 eggs. So we're gonna mix our flour in, our 2 flours, the cake and the regular flour, in 1 bowl with 2 tablespoons of our baking soda. So let's get back to Quanika. So I'm putting my stuff in and talk about Quanika. So my sister Darcy lives in Jacksonville. She and her husband VJ have these Shih Tzus that they breed. So we're gonna put 2 tablespoons in here. And I had always thought when I came to New Orleans, I was gonna get a dog. In fact, I had a student named Kirby McGann who said, when you get a dog, you should name your dog Killer. And he had this look on his face because I think my look was like, and so he said, or Kirby, whichever one. So when my sister told me she had these dogs and she put them on Facebook, I thought, well, I really want a pit bull. But people are afraid of pit bulls, and I didn't want to make people nervous when they came to my house. So I said, well, let me look at your puppies. And she showed me a puppy, and it was the smallest one in the litter, and I knew that he was Killer. So I said, I want that one. Here's the money. I want that dog. So she said, perfect. I cash apped her. We called him Killer. Killer Kirby, but Killer. Now, Killer lasted for about a month in his little litter, running the show, apparently. But then what happened was Killer's mama knew something that we didn't know, and she ate him. So he really wasn't a killer at all. Killer got killed. So Killer didn't make it to New Orleans, and so I said, okay, give me the next thing you got in the bunch. And she said, I got a little girl, and she's really spicy, she's really sassy. I said, done, I'll take her. And we're gonna call her Quanika. Now, Quanika Levain to be exact, but Quanika all the same. Now, why Quanika? Because every now and again, people will have the audacity to tell me how it is that Quanika is such a, quote, ghetto name. Now, some of these same people have 4-syllable children's names. If your kid's names start with a la or a sha and end with a ta or a ka, please don't tell me about my dog having a ghetto name. But they do. They want to tell me about how ghetto Quanika is. So we're mixing this powder mix up together, just so that it's all good. All right, so our dry goods are all together. So they tell me how ghetto Quanika is as a name and how I should have her name like Bella or Princess or Bianca or something like that. But her name is Quanika because when I lived in Little Rock, my first job was a hall director, getting my butter. So I've got 2 sticks of butter that I have chopped up into these little cubes. So I'm putting my butter in my bowl. And one of the first things I recognized was that my students were in a league of their own. So we're gonna blend this butter. And so one of my students in particular, her name was Quanika Thomas. And Quanika came to us from a small town called Eudora in southeast Arkansas. We're getting our butter all mixed up so that it looks a little, it doesn't look like butter anymore, it's more of a cream. And Quanika was just fantastic because she was hilarious and she couldn't be told what she was not going to do because she let you know. So I wanted Quanika to be as successful as she could, and so Quanika became one of my first children. So we got our butter all mixed up there, and now what we're going to do is slowly add into our bowl of butter our sugars and chocolate and that sort of stuff. So Quanika didn't necessarily want to be told what to do, but she was going to be one of my kids. So I said, no, Quanika, if you're in the right clan, you got to know how to do what you're doing. So I hired Quanika, and she stayed on over the summer as a summer conference assistant. So I put my brown sugar in, I put my granulated sugar in, and the conference assistants, their job was to help get the residence halls ready for the different conferences and work the front desk. And we, at that institution, and I'm going to chop up my walnuts. At that institution, we were very much a cheerleader camp, dance camp space. Now, the thing you need to know about cheerleader camps and dance camps was that cheerleader camps were almost exclusively girls with a handful of guys, but dance camps were 100% women. And at one of those camps, we had a young man named Adam. So we're putting my walnuts in here. And Adam was a brilliant dancer, probably the strongest dancer at the camp. But Quanika had never seen a male dancer. And so she was puzzled, perturbed, if you will. And so as she's working the front desk, she's staring at Adam like this. And Adam looks at him, he's back like this. And Adam then goes, boo. To which Quanika replied, boo, and she began to use lots of language that we're not going to use on Cooking with Curtis because it's a family show. And of course, I had to try to come in and make sure that they weren't hurting one another, scaring the children. And Quanika and Adam actually became good friends. And Adam came to university and became a student there. And he and Quanika, as I said, became good friends. And I knew that for me, if I needed somebody who was sassy, who was smart, who was funny, who was engaging, it was Quanika. And Quanika unfortunately passed away a few years ago, complications of cancer. So when I was thinking about a name of a sassy, engaging, dynamic, get you told friend of mine, of course, Quanika was the only name that came up with it. So when people tell me how it is that I should name my dog Quanika, I tell them to mind their business because they did not know Quanika and they don't know this Quanika. But Quanika is a year old today. So she's not eating any of these cookies, but she can certainly pay attention to them. So right now, you can see in the bowl, we've mixed together my sugars and chocolates. And so now what we're going to do is add our flour mixture and our eggs. So I'm going to take my 2 eggs really quickly, break them, whisk them. They say lightly beaten, and I don't know the difference between a lightly beaten egg and a hard beaten egg, so I'm just not going to hit it as hard with the whisk. But we're going to lightly whisk these eggs. I think these are lightly beaten while we pour our flour into our mix. Now, what did Quanika, some folks are wondering, what did Quanika get for her birthday? She's a dog, but I did want her to have something. And you know, it was hard in the light of COVID-19 having a birthday celebration. So I went down to Valsis and I picked her up a new toy because she enjoys her toys. She likes them very much. And I got her these 2 doggy cookies that were quite decorated. One looked like a fleur-de-lis. The other one was some sort of mixture, like a wreath, but it had sprinkles on it. She gobbled the sprinkle one up already. And I also got her these treats that you can put in the freezer, in the refrigerator. One looks supposed to be turkey bacon, and the other one is supposedly chicken. She ate those like nobody's business, really fast. And I'm also giving her wet food. I don't normally give her wet food. She has to, it's a special occasion, so today she gets her wet food, she gets her cookies, she has her new baby, so she's having a grand time. She has a job. Her job is to protect the house and to not pee on my stuff. She's not doing that not peeing on my stuff job very well, but other than that, she does protect the house. I know as soon as somebody is at the door because she runs, she stands in front of it, and she spins around in circles. Not as if she's going to guard us, because then that means to her, there's somebody that's going to play with her. So Quanika is a sort of a guard dog, but not really. So we're going to put our eggs into our batter. We're going to put all this stuff together. And it's really quite messy, but I can already tell you it is going to be delicious. It looks like the cookie mix at the restaurant. We're going to make sure we get all of it good. Oh yeah, you see it's making the blender tired, right? It's making this blender. So the blender, just got it. It's making the blender tired. So I'm going to tell you what we're going to do next. So now I've got my cookie dough mixed, as you can see. So the first thing I did, however, was I put 2 cookie pans with parchment paper out. So I'm going to scoop this cookie dough onto the parchment paper. Then I've got to put it in the freezer for 90 minutes. Let it freeze for 90 minutes, let it chill for 90 minutes. And then I take it and I put it in the oven. And I have the oven set for 375, and we're going to cook those cookies for about 26 minutes at 375 heat. But first we gotta let it chill for about 90 minutes. I'm gonna do that, and then when we come back, we're going to taste the cookies. So, say a happy birthday for Quanika, and we're gonna take a little break. You can have a little Diet Coke, because I'm getting ready to get mine. You can watch a little television, do some homework, but we'll be back in about 2 hours.